stay more or less 2x2 as they come up to the line. The safety cars peel off. Red lights are on the gantry. The drivers can see that. And when the lights go out, 45 minutes of Tegiwa Roadsports Series racing gets underway, and it does so now. And it's a good start there by Jazz Sapra from pole position. He's going to have the advantage over Paul Cook as they head up towards Rich's corner for the first time. Just looking to see if everyone makes it safely through. I think they probably have done so far. David Kempton, I can see, has made up a few positions already, but it's Sapra leading. Paul Cook in second place, the two of them overlapping as they come off the Wilson hairpin. Pete Seeley in the MR2 in the middle of the field. He locks up a little bit as he goes into the hairpin, but it looks like everyone's made it around safely so far, Josh.
Yeah, David Kempton's passed about 10 cars. I think he's passed all the Class D cars. He's on the grass almost, getting past a couple more. But the race leaders, here they come. And it's Paul Cook that's got through, and Jad Sapra, who's all over the back of him as they come down towards the Agostini hairpin. That's a relayed car, the Sapra Branson duo. Everybody else is going the full distance in their own car. Johnny Weston Taylor's got third, Liam Criddick's got fourth, Warren Allen's all over the place in fifth, and Andy Bailey, who rather outperformed his Honda Civic Class B car in qualifying, has dropped behind some others, but he's actually lost Class B lead therefore, hasn't he, to Liam Crilly, but some more of the powerful cars getting through as well. So the leaders turn their way out through Oggies. Looks like the Honda there with Andy Bailey's got back past Warren Allen that had that moment, but you got this great line of cars. There's David Kempton and Tony Rogers coming through together. They're into the Class C cars now, and there's Rogers slotting past Pete Seeley's Toyota MR2. They're both making good progress. Looks like somebody's run a bit wide there. It's a bit dusty, but that's sorting itself out. And you've got some great batteries, you've got some great variety of cars, front-wheel drive, rear-wheel drive, front-engine, mid-engine and rear-engined cars as well. So it's as eclectic as you like it in this griddy, and it's great to see.
Yeah, absolutely right. Roadsports series being revived as a series rather than a championship a few years ago now, in an endurance format. Previously Roadsports ran with the 750 Motor Cup in a traditional sprint format, but this has a much wider appeal. And there you can see the two BMWs leading, then you've got the Lotus and the BMW pretty close together in third and fourth. The whole thing, you can see just how eclectic it is as they you see them all come through the shot. You've got the Nick Goff Audi TT, that just went through shot as well, the number 20 car. I'm sure he's got a few followers on the YouTube feed as well. He's just been passed though over the line, you can see there, by David Kempton through from the back in that BMW. So he's got up to 12th place as Kempton at the end of the first lap. So that's quite good progress he's made. Tony Rogers was up to 16th position at the end of lap 1, both of them coming from the back.
Paul Cook's got, oh, that didn't go well. Nick Goff's been absolutely taken out there by Jonathan Packer, who rather missed his braking point into the Wilson hairpin. Jonathan Packer, who was a race winner at Oulton Park last week, has damaged his area motorsport Honda Civic. Yeah, the bodywork's fouling on the tyre. That's the problem there, isn't it? That's the big issue that's going to cause some ill handling in the first instance, damage to the tyre as well. The TT's still going after he got T-boned somewhat there for Nick Goff. And yeah, Jonathan Packer, well, he's still going at the moment, but if you're going to pull off here into the Agostini cut off into the paddock, I don't think he is. Well, I think he's going to puncture his tyre if he's not careful. Yeah, now he's decided that's the better idea. That's race run for Jonathan Packer. So that's one of the drivers that had an extra 15 seconds to serve in the pit stops. Everyone has to be stationary for 60 seconds in the pit stops, and he would have to be stationary for 75, but that's now, sadly, not an issue. Class D cars going through there, and it looks like it's the Adcock Compact that leads that from Matthew Footman's Ford Puma. But a bit further up the order, Warren Allen is progressing. He's got himself ahead of the Class B leader, Liam Crilly, the BMW Z4, passed by the Porsche Cayman. So now he goes after Johnny Weston Taylor in the Lotus Lease, another Class A car. Johnny Weston Taylor, I think a former champion with the 750 Motor Club, and a very different type of car. But up front, Paul Cook is going away. He was led by 3 seconds at the end of lap 1 from Jad Sapra, so that was a good opening lap from Cook. And now Sapra's pulling away in turn from the Lotus of Weston Taylor, Allen in the Porsche, and Crilly quicker through the corners in the BMW Z4. Yeah, so 4.1 seconds between Cook and Sapra at the end of 2 laps of racing then, and another 7 and a bit seconds back to Johnny Weston Taylor in third place. He was slated to race that car, share that car with the Sports Battles champion Andy Hiley, but Andy, I think we'll see him out for tomorrow's racing. That was all rather tight as David Kempton dived past a couple of Class B cars. That was the battle of a second in Class B between Andy Bailey's Honda Civic and Alex Ball in the Lotus Elise. And now it's Tony Rogers' turn to get involved. You've got the Honda Integra there as well going well. That's Kevin Talbot. I don't think we've seen him out in Roadsports before, going really well. Sammy Bowler is involved in that battle in the Mini. So many different types of cars, but they come to pretty much the same pace within that Class B battle on the power to weight ratio. It works really well. Liam Crilly's a little bit further up the road, but he's a super successful driver, multiple champion in the different disciplines, but a great battle behind him for second in that class. With, I think, they're Kevin Talbot gaining a place in the Honda Integra out of all of that.
Yeah, so up to 6th and 7th, we've got the two cars from the back. Can we see again what happened at the hairpin there on the previous lap? Here we go, a replay of that incident just coming into shot any moment now. Well, the Honda of Packer was very late on its brakes, and there's not a lot there that Nick Goff could do about that, Josh.
Yeah, what he was actually doing was getting the Class C lead away from Matthew Mandapia Renault Clio, but in all of that, as you say, braked way too late to slow himself down, and unfortunately Nick Goff got caught up in it. Although it looks like he's still going, so that's good news for Goff. Jonathan that's Andy Bailey, isn't it, in the other area? Honda has fallen behind Kevin Talbot's Honda Integra, and then you've got Alex Ball in the Lotus Elise that is challenging but doesn't have the power there to draw alongside the Honda Civic. The Class B really competitive here. Over the course of the season, Liam Crilly's won twice, Liam Bridgeway, Phil Driver and Colin Gillespie have won. So Liam Crilly's the only driver that can replicate the win. I think he said he's got some penalty to serve in the pit stop, so that means he's trying to build a lead in this first into the race.
Yep, lap 3, and Paul Cook's lead now out over 5 seconds over Jas Sapra in second place at the end of that third lap of racing. But just looking at the lap times for the cars that have come through from the back, well, David Kempton has done a 2:07.79, Tony Rogers has done a 2:08.18, so they're not too much slower than the two cars out front, Paul Cook and Jas Sapra, who've lapped in the 2-minute 6s and 2-minute 7s respectively. So you would think there'd be, well, one or both of them could be on for a podium here, Josh.
Here's some of the Class D battles, and the standard 116 trophy car is ahead of the modified one by the looks of things. I'm quite sure that's how 40/40 Racing planned it, but that's what the situation is. It's a bit further down the Class D battle, something like for 4th, and it's the 199 car there, Stephen Bezic, who is ahead. Yeah,
ahead of the 43 car, which is Johnny Webster out in that one at the moment. Mike Oldknow, sometime from the V-Racer, will be out in that for the second part of the race. As the 40 Racing number 43 cars into the pits comes the Audi, and that's Jonathan Berry's Audi A3, so that's not for a scheduled stop because we've only had 8 minutes of the race so far, and you can't make your mandatory stop until 15 minutes have gone by.
These 116s are going to be lapped before terribly much longer. They're lapping about half a minute slower than the leaders, as you'd suspect. They've got about a quarter of the power, haven't they? Something like that. But they're having a good battle. I'm going to see plenty of these 116 trophy cars out tomorrow. I think there's over 30 on the entry. A bit sideways there with Bezic as he turned his way into the hairpin, which could have given a chance for Johnny Webster to get past, but it didn't really. So they exit the hairpin as race leader Paul Cook crosses the line. So in the next lap or two, he will be with them.
He will be, won't he? Yes, no doubt about it. So Paul Cook's just gone over the line now, and his lead is now 6.5 seconds.
And that is because he just set a new lap record in the category, a 2 minutes 5.32, which is about a second under the previous lap record, which was just set a few months ago here at Snetterton by John Munro.
As over the line now comes the battle a little bit further back down the order. That's the Liam Crilly battle with Warren Allen, I should say. So that's for 6th and 7th place now, because Kempton has gone up to 3rd and Rogers has gone up to 4th in the invitation class and Class A car respectively. So you've got Allen in the Class A Porsche and Crilly in the Class B BMW. They're on screen now. They're doing battle for 6th position overall, but it's not for class position. And then here is Andy Bailey. So this is for 2nd in Class B, and he's got his Civic just ahead of the Integra of 137, Kevin Talbot, and just behind them is the number 46 car, which is Alex Ball in the Lotus Elise. So those are 3 Class B cars together having a very good battle for 2nd position.
Yeah, the Civic's back ahead though. Liam Quilly, Andy Paley did get himself back ahead of Kevin Talbot then in that battle. They are already though 8 seconds behind Liam Quilly. So at this rate, Quilly's going to build up a big enough margin, I think, to stay ahead despite his pit stop penalty. But they're having a good battle nevertheless. The Integra, another road-registered car I see there, and Roadsports does tend to bring out some cars that are road legal cars that are sometimes driven to the circuit in some instances. And Talbot's late on the brakes there into Oggies, but couldn't quite get the better of Andy Bailey. Not far behind these three is Sammy Bowler in her Mini Cooper.
Yeah, she's about 2 seconds behind them, isn't she, at the moment in her Mini Cooper S. Drive from Stockport in Cheshire, 29 years of age. She appeared, I think it was at Donington last December, wasn't it, for the first time in Roadsports, and she's been back multiple occasions since. The car originally built for Mini Challenge, but now she's enjoying racing in the longer distance races in Roadsports, but she did have some success within the Mini Challenge before converting to this particular category.
Yeah, I think they've done some modifications on it over the winter as well, into this season to compete in Roadsports. I think in Class B, where we saw her out in Class C in that one-off race last season. But this is a good battle for what is 8th position on the road, with Andy Bailey ahead of his Class B rival. We haven't talked much about Class C, so let's just say that Matthew Mandapira is doing a really good job in his Renault Clio, because he's leading that by a few seconds from a slightly older Clio, which is being driven by John Marlowe in this opening stint. And then third place in Class C is Ben McCauley in his Lotus Elise.
Yeah, there's about 6 seconds between them at the moment, isn't there? Something like that between first and second within Class C. Matthew Mandapira out in front though, but we'll stick with this Class B battle for second place at the moment. So it's Andy Bailey, number 95. We saw him out at Alton Park last weekend in Club Enduro. 137, Kevin Talbot, and 46, Alex Ball in that little Lotus Elise. And these seem to be really evenly matched, don't they? Around the just under 3 mile Snetterton 300 circuit.
Yeah, Alex Ball's, I think, a front runner in the Lotus Elise Trophy, isn't he? But he's, I think, finding it rather more interesting to race against cars that perhaps got a little bit more power. His car quicker through the corners, but he can't find a way past. So that would be a different style of racing, perhaps, to racing in a one-make formula. Something to get used to, perhaps, as they turn their way then up through Hamilton. And Kevin Talbot's very much on the limited sideways. He saves it, though. So he's really pushing on. Like I say, I don't think we've seen much of him in Roadsports, but he's putting in a good job here, running inside the podium positions within his class. And he's turning his way then onto the Bentley Straight for another lap. In about a lap's time, we're going to have the pit window open, aren't we? Yeah. Which will add another spice into this race. There's the Johnny Weston Taylor Lotus, which is 5th. And behind him, not going as well a thing as expected, is Warren Allen, who's been a former winner in the past in the category. Yeah, he did sort of 2:10s, I think, in qualifying. He's only done 2:11 so far in the race, and we saw that qualifying time. I thought, oh, he should go a bit quicker than that. He's actually not even matched that time so far, Warren Allen. He's 6th overall and 5th within Class A, because you've got the invitation class car of David Kempton in amongst them as well in 3rd position overall. And he's just done a 2:06.90, so a new personal best lap of the race now for David Kempton in 3rd, but he is 17 seconds behind the car in front, which at the moment is being driven by Jazz Sapper. A driving standards flag, as you can see, has gone out to somebody. Yeah, no doubt that will be for exceeding track limits. We can't see the number of the car it's being directed to. See, it's being shown on a board to the drivers. It's not being shown on the LCD screen outside our window, as this battle for the Class B 2nd position comes to a head with up the inside there Kevin Talbot going through at Ritchie's to take the position away from Andy Bailey in the Civic, and following him through is going to be Alex Ball in the Lotus. They're on the brakes now for Wilson Hairpin. The two of them are still side by side, but it looks like Alex Ball has got that done. So Andy Bailey loses 2 positions there. That was very tight on the run up to Ritchie's, wasn't it, Josh? Yeah, I think there was a touch, because there's a bit of debris on the road now. So Kevin Talbot has got through for a 2nd time. So let's see if Andy Bailey can fight back. But in all of this, Liam Quilly is now over 10 seconds in front of them. So he has got a big enough margin potentially to stay in front come the pit stops. And he has just set a new lap record, I think, within his class, for 2 minutes 11.26, which is fractionally under what Christopher Freeman has done in the past in this category. So let's see what Kevin Talbot can do. Can he get away? Well, now he's Still got that Lotus, which you'd kind of wonder might be quicker in clear air for Alex Ball. He looks fast, doesn't he? We know it's tricky in these Lotuses, in these categories. They're usually quick through the corners, but down the straights obviously don't have the power, but that's how the power to weight ratio formula all balances out, and over a lap time it's normally not too much between them. Paul Cook up front, so it's on another fastest lap by the way, at 2 minutes 4.94 now.
Yeah, and he's just lapped Phil Adcock, hasn't he, as well? So he's lapped everyone up to including 23rd position now, with half an hour left to go and the pit window open as a result.
Phil Adcock is leading Class D. We haven't mentioned them lately. He's a couple of seconds ahead of Matthew Footman's Ford Puma, but he's got more pit stop penalties to serve.
He has.
And then Chris Fantana's Mazda MX-5 is third within Class D.
So what we're watching on screen there at the moment is the battle for second place in Class B. It's Kevin Tolbert in the Honda Integra. It's the Lotus Elise of Alex Ball, so 137 and 46 there, 9th and 10th positions overall. Race still being led by Paul Cook, number 6 from 126. Branson and 11 David Kempton in third. A driver now getting a 5-second penalty as well, I can see. There you go.
That is Kevin Tolbert in the Honda Integra, 137.
Okay, yes, so it's appeared on our screens now. So Kevin Tolbert with that 5-second penalty, so that will drop him down the order, and that rather spoils that battle for second within Class B.
Well, I imagine the battle actually won't change much to watch on the circuit,
No.
even though at the end of the day, actually, it might be a bit more problematic. There's Sammy Bowler again. She's lapping another of those 116s. I think that's the Ross Dustin car, is it? At the back, car number 40. So 28 cars are running now. And through Palmer, that battle continues. So I wonder if Alex Ball gets through, whether he'll be able to do a similar kind of pace to Liam Crilly up front. There's Andy Bailey, qualified so well, didn't he? Up on the second row of the grid, but in the race he's been a couple of seconds slower, so whether that's a qualifying setup maybe even that gave him that time, but he hasn't been able to replicate that pace in the race, but he's still involved in this battle for second place in Class B as they turn their way down through Oggies. So pit stops sort of can happen from now, can't they? So we'll see if anybody decides to pit early. The lead gap up front is 10 seconds, but we suspect Brian Branson will be quicker than Jazz Sapra, don't we? Assuming that car's okay, because obviously it did break.
Well, it lost a wheel. I wonder if they might have reverted to sharing the Jazz Sapra's car, potentially, I guess. Or even Jazz could be doing the whole race, I suppose. But we'll have to keep an eye on that one when it does come in, see if they do it. As we see Alex Ball getting ahead there of Kevin Tolbert on the road. He's going to be ahead anyway with a 5-second penalty. Clips the curb there. That gives Tolbert another chance to have a run at him through the bottom hole. He's going to be inside line through the compression. And they're still alongside one another. They've got the BMW 116 ahead of them. Andy Bailey's being brought back into the equation as well. So this battle for second place in Class B really does continue. Now, which way are they going to go with this 116 ahead of them? As Bailey gets the position back from Tolbert as well. Ball pounces on the 116 and has put that between himself and Bailey now. This battle's changing all the time.
Absolutely. So now Alex Ball will have this clear track, seeing what kind of pace he can do. We've seen Bailey and Tolbert go side by side through Ritchie's before. This time, though, Andy Bailey on the inside line hangs on, as you see there. So the Integra, which was second on the road, has now dropped to fourth. And Sammy Bowler is catching them all, isn't she? And as those battle in front of her, so she should be able to buy her way into this battle. Yeah, she's absolutely there now. So 3 front-wheel drive cars, the Honda Civic, the Honda Integra, it's slow through the corner. And Sammy Bowler has to get on the anchors halfway through the corner not to run into the back, as she does successfully, but can't find a way past for now as they turn their way through Palmer Corner and accelerate off down towards Agostinian. That battle shall continue.
A couple of cars are into the pits, by the way, including the 199 car of Stephen Beswick, who's going to hand over to the experienced Caterham racer, Patrick Scharfiger, for the second half of the race, or just over half of the race. But the leading contenders yet to make their pit stops here. 26 minutes still to go. There's the Rogers car. That's the one that starts at the back of the grid. Tony Rogers in the Seat Leon Supercopa. He's up into 4th position now. He's about 3.5 seconds behind David Kempton in the BMW. There is Kempton, just a brief view of him as he flashed through the shot. But then you've got that left hooker Seat in 4th position.
A second place in Class D just behind the Ford Puma of Matthew Footman, going well and keeping very much in sighting distance of Phil Adcock, who's got this penalty. Did the Puma have a penalty, 125 for the pit stop?
No.
So
no.
yeah, it's very much Class D or net time is going the way of the Puma, isn't it?
Could be a lot of work for Matthew Adcock to do in the second part of the race.
Absolutely, and he was a winner with his dad at Silverstone last time out.
It seems like a long time ago, doesn't it? I suppose it was quite a long time ago, that Silverstone event.
Yeah, we had no September races, didn't we, for Roadsports?
Back out into the race goes number 180, Carl Chambers, as well, in the Peugeot 306. He's dropped down to 24th now on the screens, having made his stop.
See on the Alpha Live coverage there, 148, which is Mike Nash. He's one of the drivers doing the BMW Car Club races and Roadsports. He's currently running in 20th position overall. We come up towards halfway distance in this race. Here's another of the bewinged 116 trophy cars. There's Nick Goff with that dent in the door, so he's going to have some work to do, isn't he, over the winter to sort out his Audi TT. But it's great to have that car here. More driving standards flags going out, I see, as across the line goes Nick Goff. He is in 13th position overall and setting personal best lap times a lap ago, so getting up to speed in that car as he turns his way through Ritchie's there.
You just saw in the background as well, number 64 leaving the pit lane. That's Stephen Harrison, now handed over to Stephen Watson in their Class C Renault Clio. It's in 26th position overall, having made its stop. 9 minutes left of the pit stop window.
Just behind Nick Goff is the Class C leader, which continues to be Matthew Mandapira's 197 Clio, but he's being caught by John Marlowe's 182. There's just over a second between them. So perhaps if we look in the background of the shot at Agostini, we might see them. How far are they behind Goff? About 10 seconds, so perhaps we'll pick up on those in a moment. But the two Clios battling for Class C could be interesting. And I think we're going to get a new Class C winner too, aren't we? Because Jonathan Packer, who was a winner, he's out the race, and other winners have been Matthew Creed and Rory Baptiste. So a new Class C winner in store here as well at Snetterton. So a nice way to end the year, adding some drivers to the winners list. Nobody's actually won more than 2 times within their class this year, and the only driver that might change that is Liam Crilly, isn't it, in Class B, looking for his 3rd win of the 6 rounds.
Well, that's the nice thing about Roadsports as well, is it's not a championship. There's no commitment to have to do all of the rounds, although several drivers do appear for most, if not all of them. And therefore you do get quite a mixture of different winners and podium finishes.
Here's the Class C battle then into shot. The 197's been caught by the older 182 Clio. So Matthew Mandapira trying to defend. John Marlowe's trying to go right round the outside here, but I don't think he quite made it. So it's a good battle there in Class C. And not far behind them is the Lotus Elite of Ben McCauley. So 3 cars in Class C, not separated by very much, with the 2 Clios in front. Here they are on our screens heading up towards Coram.
Yep, so that's the treble 9 car that was just cocking a wheel there. That's John Marlowe behind Matthew Mandapira. They were separated at the beginning of the lap by about 1.3, 1.4 seconds. That's certainly come down a lot during the course of this lap. Over the curve though, on the exit goes Mandapira.
Yeah, he got a bit wrong into the bend, I think. But has he been able to hang on is the question. Well, yes, because the 182's gone for the pits.
It has, so that's resolved that little battle. And Ben McCauley wasn't too far behind either in the Lotus, was he?
No, so John Marlowe, he'll be handing over to Robert Quantrell in that car, 999 car, so getting himself out of the battle, perhaps trying to pit early and maybe get through. That's what's called the undercut, isn't it? I think in other parlance.
It is. So, yeah, we're pretty much at halfway through this race now. So it's number 6, Paul Cook, leading from 126. The Brian Brunson, Jazz Safra, keep. Mark Jones and Teddy Rogers 3rd in the number 48 car. 4th, 16541 Allen. 5th, 53, Johnny Weston Taylor. 6th is number 12, Liam Crilly, leading Class B.
Sapra's in the pits, so we shall see if that BMW dwarfs into another car or not.
Well, it looks like there is another BMW with its nose poking out of the garage.
So that would be Brian Branson, but we know Wood's quicker by about 1.5 seconds in qualifying than Paul Cook. It was something like a 10-second gap, wasn't it, or 12 seconds by the looks of it on the Alpha Live timing graphic. So 12 seconds was the gap that we, I guess we should watch for, whether Brian Branson can catch Paul Cook at all as Andy Bailey rides the curbs there. He's got a bit of a gap, hasn't he, over Kevin Tolbert, but Alex Ball has been pulling away. Alex Ball is 20 seconds now behind Liam Crilly. So Liam Crilly's gone quicker still, 2 minutes 10.86 now. Another lap record within Class B is looking strong to perhaps get a 3rd win of the season. He took victories at Silverstone on the national circuit and at Brands Hatch on the Indy track.
Another front runner to have been into the pits is David Kempton. He's made his mandatory stop now. I think he's gone back out again.
Class D leader is in, so that is Phil Adcock to hand over to son Matthew. So Matthew Adcock will have some work to do, although Phil Adcock just set a PB last time, a 2 minutes 23.94 on his last flying lap of the session.
Just out of our comment box window, I can see that Brian Bransom's gone back out into the race in the number 126 car. So they have indeed changed cars, and they have got a wheel back on it, which is the reason that it retired from the earlier BMW Car Club Championship race.
So if it stays on for the next 20 minutes, I guess.
Yes.
And they've come out in something like 8th position, haven't they? Just behind Rob Meredith, who's having his first run in the Lotus Elise S2. That has been a winner in the past, or was a winner here actually in the summer, in the hands of John Munro.
I can see that the number 7 car of Matthew Mandapira is now in the pits, and out of the race goes number 96. That's Jonathan Berry.
Well, we thought he was out the race before, but he's come out. He had an 18 or a 16-minute pit stop, and he's come out and made it 3 further corners before stopping.
That's right.
See there, Nicky Emerson making sure nobody's speeding in the pit lane.
Yeah, absolutely right. You'll notice that the cars are all parked at a sort of 45-degree angle, nose into the pit garage, and then they're pushed back out to get back out into the race, and that's because it's quite a compact pit lane, just to ensure that there are no sort of incidents in the pit lane when it gets very busy, which it did at Alton Park in the Club Enduro race on one occasion last weekend.
Yeah, but I think we just about got away with everything there, didn't we?
Yeah.
So left out yet to pit, Paul Cook, Tony Rogers, Liam Crilly, Alex Ball, Andy Bailey and Sammy Bowler, the top 6. And they'll have to pit on the next lap or so, because they're not too far away from the pit window closing. Obviously it's a long lap around here.
It is.
So that should happen soon. So Paul Cook leads the way, and of course his main rival Brian Bransom has already pitted. So they'll both be looking to not really lose any time in the pit lane. It's a 60-second pit stop nowadays, isn't it?
Yes. We did have it as a 90-second stop in the early part of the year with COVID precautions, so extra sanitisation time in the car.
Battle of a second in Class B in the pits, Alex Ball and Sammy Bowler there. So we'll see how they come out in comparison to Kevin Tolbert, who's already pitted. Andy Bailey has stayed out on track. He's continuing round, so he'll have to pit on the next lap.
A few cars coming in. Is one of those possibly in the background Paul Cook in the BMW? It's hard to see if it is, but yeah, I think it is Paul Cook that's come in just in the back of shot there. So from the lead of the race, Paul Cook, number 6 in his BMW M3 is back out. Is back into the pits.
Great to have this shot of the whole pit lane, isn't it? So we can see everybody that's in the pits rather than just one or two. So it's pretty easy to tell what's going on. You can see pretty small teams. Maybe they brought their family along to help them out. But there are a few team-run cars as well. But really cost-effective way of doing this over the 45 minutes, particularly if you're sharing a car. It's pretty good pound per minute, isn't it, in the Roadsports series?
It certainly is. It's got a real appeal, this type of racing, and I think 750 Motor Club have absolutely got this recipe nailed. It's been interesting that it's a format that other clubs have imitated since 750 Motor Club introduced it a few years ago. But I think we're still seeing very strong grids, strongest of any in this 750 Motor Club Tegiwa Roadsports series, which is fantastic.
Looks like both Alex Ball and Sammy Bowler have gone out ahead of Kevin Tolbert. So is that Bowler then ahead of Tolbert in the pit stops? Because she was behind, I think, the last time we saw them.
Yeah.
And looked like, if anything, she was closer to Alex Ball. Here's Paul Cook exiting the pit lane. And I don't think Brian Branson is that near the end of the lap yet. So if anything, Paul Cook's got a bigger lead now, because Brian Branson's only at Coram, so that's more than 12 seconds.
Yeah, so it's worked out well for Paul Cook. So it looks like he's going to be on for the win in this Tegiwa Roadsports Series race, you would think, once everything has settled down. We've still got the Tony Rogers car. Is it in the pit lane at the moment? I don't think it is. So
that doesn't bode well, considering he crossed the pit lane, across the line with less than 2 minutes to go. So.
Yeah, it's just heading up to Williams now, so it's got 45 seconds to get back to the pit lane, which I think he might be asking a little bit too much. That might just about be possible, I suppose.
Well, if he crossed the line, didn't he, with 1 minute and 53 to go on the pit window, and he's not going to do that kind of lap time.
No, so that could be the Tony Rogers and Mark Jones car having to pit outside the pit stop window, which will incur a penalty for that particular team.
So Crilly and Bailey, are they in the pit, first and second in Class B?
Bailey is. Can't see Crilly, but he may be there.
Okay, well, hopefully he is for his sake. So we'll see how that resolves. This battle's still close, isn't it? Warren Allen now ahead of Johnny Weston Taylor.
Yeah, absolutely.
Here's the leader on the road, Tony Rogers, who should have pitted by now.
Yeah, and the 15 minutes is up. He's not going to go. Yes, he is going to go for the pits this time, but I'm afraid it's about 12 seconds too late.
I didn't quite judge that right. Oh, and is that fluid coming out the back of the car? I'm not quite sure what that was, or something on the road already. So there's Andy Bailey. Liam Crilly has come out the pit. So Liam Crilly still leads Class B. Who's going to be second, though? Looks like Bailey's got second, doesn't it? Because we haven't yet had Alex Ball and Sammy Bolo. Here's Ball, yeah. So Liam Crilly in the pits in the area motorsport car. He's up to second in Class B, about 15 seconds behind Liam Crilly. And was exactly 10 seconds quicker in the pit stops, and that's how it should have worked out, isn't it?
Yeah.
And then Alex Ball is third, Sammy Bowler is fourth, and Kevin Talbot with the penalty is fifth in Class B.
Okay, so I'll give you a bit of a rundown on the order in a moment or two. But for the moment, there's still a few pit stop matters to sort of shake out. I can see a stop-go penalty board is being prepared. Well, that's going to be shown to anyone or not remains to be seen.
Remember, John Marlowe was right with Matthew Mandapira in Class C, wasn't he? Well, now Robert Quantrell's in the car after their pit stop. They're half a minute behind, so that has not gone to plan. The Lotus in the pits, Ben McCauley exits the pit lane, and he's ahead of the Clio. So in the pit stops in Class C, that's all changed around, because into the lead has gone the Lotus Elise then of Ben McCauley ahead of Matthew Mandapira, but not by much. So the Class C battle you can see on the screen is pretty close indeed.
Oh, yes.
So that's a good battle, I think, to watch over the remainder of the race, heading down towards the Wilson hairpin, with McCauley fresh from the pit lane just in front of the Renault Clio of Matthew Mandapira.
Okay, so that's for Class C, and they are 15th and 16th overall as well on the timing screen as things stand at the moment. Turning their way through Parma, and then it's straight behind the Tyrrell's restaurant down towards the hairpin, the left-hand hairpin at Agostini.
Meanwhile, Brian Branson's just on the fastest lap of the race, and our new lap record, 2 minutes 4.26, which is about 2 seconds now under the lap record, which was broken in July. And Brian Branson is 18 seconds behind Paul Cook, but was 4 seconds faster on the most recent lap.
I think Nick Goff may have just made up a place. No, that's going to be a lapped car. He was lapping, I think, just looking at the screen. But watching this battle, well, Ben McCauley's been just getting away a little bit from Matthew Mandapira so far on this lap. He's just tucked in behind the 22 car there, which is Chris Fantana, which is a lap down. Yeah,
and Fantana third in Class D. Matthew Footman in the Puma is ahead of Matthew Adcock, and by about 20 seconds. So I think that wraps up all the classes we've mentioned now after the stops.
Yeah. So a rundown on the order then. It looks like it's Paul Cook, number 6, leading then from 1, 2, 6. Brian Branson in second place. 11, David Kempton is third. 48, Mark Jones is fourth. 5th is number 53, Johnny Weston Taylor. 6th is 165, Warren Allen. 7th is number 12, Liam Crilly. 8th is number 95, Andy Bailey. 9th is 46, Alex Ball. 10th is treble 6, Sammy Bowler. Leading Class C is the 23 car of Ben McCauley, and Class D it is the Matthew Footman car, which is how many seconds ahead of the Adcocks at the moment?
20 when I last looked.
Okay,
I'll go to that 20-second penalty, basically.
Yeah, pretty much exactly it. So that's the situation at the moment. Just over 11 minutes of this race left to go. And talking of 11, there is car 11, David Kempton, in third position, also out in the BMW Car Club Racing Championship races here at Snetterton today.
And Adcock's off. Matthew Adcock is off the road. Did he hit the barriers as well on the exit of Ritchie's?
I think so. There's some damage to the front of the 129 car there, I'm afraid. Can't see it now because the car's spun around to point away from us. It looked like certainly the bumper was off. Now, how hard a hit that was for Matthew Adcock, I'm not quite sure, I'm afraid. But the car's stationary. I think he's giving the thumbs up to the marshals.
before all that happened, Brian Branson did another fastest lap of the race, a 2 minutes 4.07. If this necessitates a safety car, Brian Branson's gap will be reduced somewhat. Here's Sammy Bowler again. How's she getting on in Class B? She is 4th, and she's 3 seconds behind Alex Ball. But behind her is a Class A car that's going quicker than it's gone all race long. Rob Meredith has got into the 211s as he gets more used to the Lotus Elite, but he is in a different class to the cars around him.
That's right.
There's Andy Bailey, who should be 2nd within Class B. There's a stop-go penalty board going out, which presumably will be for the Sayat, won't it?
I would think it probably is, yeah, for the stop out of the pit stop window. So there's Sammy Bowler going across the line, 4th in Class B, treble 6. She's lost about 2 seconds on that lap, I reckon, to Alex Ball. Yes, that last lap she was just over 2 seconds slower than Alex Ball in the number 46 Lotus Elise.
Alex Ball is not recatching Andy Bailey, who he got ahead of earlier. So Bailey looking good for 2nd. There's our Class D leader. That's Matthew Footman in the Ford Puma, who's going to have a much bigger lead now with his closest rival off the track.
As the safety car is being scrambled, yellow flags being shown at the start line, safety car heading out of the pit lane, and that will be because of the Matthew Adcock BMW Compact that spun at on the exit of Rich's corner, and it had come to rest, I think, on the inside of the circuit there. So it's just over 9 minutes of this race left to go. We go into safety car conditions. So 3rd race in a row where I've had a safety car towards the business end of the race. It looks like that car, though, is being pushed back behind the barriers, though. So hopefully it won't be too long before the race can get back underway, unless there's any other reason for the safety car that we're not aware of.
There's bits of BMW being picked up now, which isn't great news for Phil Adcock's car, driven by his son Matthew. Not quite the way I think they wanted to end the season. Because the safety car hasn't picked up the leaders, and it's not really needed to be out for any longer, I presume we're not going to really get the leaders behind the safety car. We'll probably just get back going, won't we, once the safety car gets back round.
Medical car will go to the scene of that incident just to check Matthew Adcock over, which is perfectly normal. Any time a driver makes contact with the barriers, it's not necessarily a major cause for concern. It will just be a routine check, and we trust that Matthew is well after that off. So there is the safety car. It's picked up the 64 Stephen Watson Renault Clio, and then just behind it is the Class D leading Matthew Footman, 1-2-5-4 Puma in 22nd position overall.
I think there's some confusion on the live stream for the penalty that Kevin Talbot had. That was for track limits, not for an incident on circuit. To clear that one up.
Yes, we've got the cars heading around behind the safety car, 7.5 minutes to go.
So here's Paul Cook. How many cars are between him and Brian Branson? There's one, but then a couple of slow ones, aren't there?
Yeah, and there's quite a lot of track position between them as well.
So there's 3 cars, but as you say, there's a lot of daylight, which isn't what Brian Branson would be hoping for.
No.
Here's the safety car. So who has it picked up?
It's the Clio, as we're saying, of Stephen Watson, 64.
Right. Okay.
So a car that is in 21st position, just ahead of the Footman Puma.
Don't think it's caused any problems to any of the class battles looking at that initially. Matthew Adcock out the car, he looks okay from here, so that's good news.
Dr. Josh giving his verdict from afar. 6 3/4 minutes to go. And here at Snetterton on the 300 circuit, this Tegiwa Roadsports Series race being brought under caution while an incident was being dealt with. We think probably, though, the circuit's clear. And I can see marshals beneath us have got a green flag in their arms, as if they're poised to wave it at the next available opportunity.
And we should get 3 more laps of racing in here.
Yeah, I think safety car lights, although it's difficult to tell from this angle, as we've discovered today, are pretty out. And that will mean that the racing will get back underway. But of course, this is not the race lead that's picked up, it's the GMP 64 Clio of Stephen Watson. But safety car, I think, peeling in, green flag waving, and the race getting back underway. So 6 minutes to go. Yeah, we should get 3 more minutes of racing. David Kempton, you can see in the queue there, he's keen to make up a move. He's got 4 slower cars ahead of him. Can he pass them all by the time he gets to Rich's corner? Well, he gets past a couple. There he is.
What's happened in that? Look, the two Class C leaders
Yes.
are side by side around him, and the Clio's going ahead of the Lotus Elise there. So Matthew Mandapira's got ahead of Ben Macaulay in the Class C battle on the restart there. Perhaps using David Kempton to his advantage, using him to find a gap.
But you say that, the Lotus just behind the other Clio there momentarily. It's not going to give up, is it? That car that is 23, Ben Macaulay, the Lotus. There's Kempton having gone through shot.
I don't think the overall leaders have restarted the race yet, have they? And they've got to be careful not to pass before the line.
Ooh.
So there's, I think, big question marks about what might happen next. But Paul Cook's got a big lead, that's for certain. There's a car breaking down as well.
Mike Nash, isn't it? The 148 car that was a spinner in the early BMW car. I think it's going to pull off probably on just beyond the pit lane exit.
So Paul Cook's got a big lead, but I think there might be a question mark about how his restart went there.
Yes, because the thing is, he was in a bunch of slower cars, wasn't he? And no doubt he was keen to get on with it.
Rules are still there, though.
Exactly. So we'll see how that one all shakes out. No championships at stake here. So that's the one thing to mention. Now, was that the Lotus back in front of Mandipira? I think it might have been as they went through Williams that time. We'll see if we can pick that up on a long shot along the Bentley Straight in a minute. Looking down towards us. Yeah, there's the Lotus. I think that's back in front, isn't it, Josh?
Yes, and Macaulay is ahead of Mandipira, jinking one way and the other, trying to get a run on Macaulay, but I don't think he's quite managed it. So they turn their way through. Yes, he's on his sideways. Is Mandipira? He got that all a bit wrong. He saved it, but he's lost some time. I think he's debuting in Hot Hatch later today as well. Here's Matthew Mandapira, so look forward to seeing how that goes for him.
He's got a problem with the car, hasn't he? He's got a problem with the car. He was keeping out of the way of Warren Allen as he came through.
And Warren Allen's just been passed by Johnny Weston Taylor for what is 5th position on the road, isn't it, and all of that? So Johnny Weston Taylor making the most of that to squeeze his Lotus ahead.
So Matthew Mandapira hopefully will be making his debut in Hot Hatch later on, but sadly he's not going to get to the end of this Roadsports race. 3.5 minutes left to go.
Passing him there, the two Class D leaders are nose to tail because Chris Fantana's Mazda is right with Matthew Footman, and Brian Branson's pulling off almost where he did earlier. So the second place car looks to be out of the race.
Has he got a wheel attached this time? Mandipira's come to stop pretty much at Murray's, and he can't keep that car going, I don't think, so that's not great. With 3 minutes of the race left to go, Paul Cook comes through to lap that car, and he'll come through to complete another lap. But with 3 minutes to go, we've got the Matthew Mandapira car now stranded in a dangerous position, really.
Not sure who the stop-go penalty was for, because I don't think anybody's come in, have they? Brian Branson's going again, by the way.
Yes.
Seen that.
Yes.
So it's all
happening.
It was all going nicely, wasn't it, before the safety car? The stop-go penalty board is still being shown, isn't it? By our start line marshals here at Snetterton, loyal base of Snetterton marshals here at the venue, which is great to see. So many here as well, covering a big old circuit to cover this weekend.
They've now finally put the stop-go penalty board away because soon we need to replace it with the last lap board, won't they? Because there's only 2 minutes or so of this race left to go. Paul Cook leading by 22 seconds on the last time that Brian Branson came through, but I don't think he's been through again yet, has he?
No, obviously we had that moment where he'd stopped for a bit.
Yes.
There is Paul Cook, our leader.
Yes, Paul Cook, number 6 car. We've seen him out not only in this race, but in the MR2s as well.
A yellow flag.
We've got a yellow flag, and do we have...
Kevin Talbot, by the way, is retired to the pit lane.
Yeah, we've got yellow flags on the start and finish line here, but nowhere else at present. And now we've got they've gone in again, I think, and the checkered flag is being made ready, possibly for the next time that Paul Cook comes through. He's heading along the Bentley Straight now into Brundle and Nelson.
Yellow flag's been waved again.
Yeah, and I'm trying to see the car that's stopped so much out of my sight here. I'm a little bit confused as to what's going on. Not for the first time in my commentary career. The 7 car is still there. So that's going to be recovered, is it? But we've got...
By the way, Brian Branson, I don't think, has come through. So David Kempton is second, ahead of Mark Jones and Johnny Weston Taylor. And Warren Allen's lost out of position to Liam Crilly, who's all of a sudden in 5th overall.
So we've got the Matthew Mandapira car being recovered there locally, but we've got the race about to come to its conclusion. I think Paul Cook is coming up to the line, and he gets the checkered flag a little bit early. So with that incident being cleared, I think they've just decided to flag the race a little bit early. That's probably what the confusion was. Paul Cook's come across the line now to win this Tegiwa Roadsports Series race on the road. It was a slow last lap as well, a 2:17 for him.
There was a lot of yellow flags, wasn't there?
There was a lot of yellow flags, and probably a little bit of confusion as well around the lap. So he's come through to take the win.
Just in front of him, so they're going to get another lap. The two Class D leaders were nose to tail, separated by less than 4/10 of a second, Matthew Footman and Chris Fantana. So that might be something to try and pick up on. I think Class B, the second place car got the flag, so Andy Bailey, Alex Ball, and Sammy Bowler. So that means Liam Quilly should win Class B, presuming he gets to the end of the lap.
Oh, and now there's more furiously waved yellow flags on the exit of Palm. And
that's for get cars into the,
yes, that's
into
right.
the assembly area.
Yeah, it is, because yes, I think there were still cars that were still racing going past it at the time. But yes,
Ben McCauley leads Class C from Stephen Harrison and Mike Nash, who kept going. He's third now in Class C, but it's the Class D battle, which will be interesting to pick up on if that's possible.
Well, there's the Matthew Mandipira car being recovered.
They're heading down towards Oggies. I see out my window, nose to tail, the Ford Puma of Matthew Footman, just ahead of the Mazda MX-5 of Chris Valentana. So the Class D battle, still got half a lap to go. What's happening there with Mark Jones?
This is the battle for second position as well. It's David Kempton and Mark Jones that are together there for second place overall as they come through Coram for the final time. And the yellow flag should have gone, I would think, now at Murray's as well, but they come through the corner. It looks like it is going to be David Kempton that's going to take second place. It's going to be a huge gap, isn't it, between first and second as a result of that safety car.
And that's the Class B winner. Will be the winner, Liam Crilly.
There goes the second place driver, David Kempton. Third place goes the way of Mark Jones. And then up to the line comes our Class B winner, Liam Crilly, in the BMW Z4.
Just waiting for Class D now then. Will it be Ford or Mazda? They're heading up towards Coram. It's the Puma just ahead of Matthew Footman, Chris Fontana behind. We're going to pick this up on the stream now. They turn their way into Coram Curve then. They're still in that same order. We think this is a green flag zone now, although one does seem to be quite circumspect for it, to be fair. So is Matthew Footman going to take the Ford Puma to its first victory of the season? Or is Chris Fontana's Mazda MX-5 going to get a run to the line? Remember, he was a long way behind earlier on in the race, but the safety cars worked out for him. Now, there are still yellow flags there, aren't there? And it's going to be a run to the line, which is quite close. But I don't think he could overtake. I think there were yellow flags out.
Yes, there were, although I'm not quite clear why.
It looked like there might have been a safety car board as well. So
yeah.
a slightly bizarre end to that race.
It was a little bit, wasn't it? It was a little bit.
Not for the first time for a final round of a 750 Motor Club season.
No, anyway, Paul Cook winning by 1 minute 49.45 seconds, so very nearly a lap, as Tony Hancock would probably say. But there's only then 1.6 seconds between second and third. So 6 Paul Cook, the winner from 11, David Kempton, Mark Jones and Tony Rogers third. Johnny Weston Taylor was fourth. Liam Crilly fifth, winning Class B in the BMW, number 12. Sixth was 165, Warren Allen. Seventh, number 95, Andy Bailey. Eighth was 46, Alex Ball. Saw a good fight with them earlier on. Then it was Rob Meredith, number 90, and Sammy Bowler, treble 6, rounding out the top 10. Further back, Nick Goff, after his bump, finished 11th in the Audi TT, ahead of 180 Carl Chambers in the Peugeot 306. That was 11th and 12th. Then Ben McCauley, number 23, was the Class C winner in 13th position overall, ahead of Pete Seeley and Stephen Harrison and Stephen Watson, who shared that car. Then in 16th place, it was the 126 car of Brian Bransom and Josh Sapper, the 2 cars there. 17th was number 28, Andrew Stewart. Then Mike Nash, Matthew Footman and Chris Fantana. So Footman and Fantana, the 2 Class D front runners. And then further back down the order, got the Harrison Watson Clio, the Talbot Integra after various dramas, 3 BMW 116s, and then you get into the retirements after that. But the Tegiwa Roadsports Series race, the final one of the season, a little bit chaotic, and it was won by Paul Cook by very nearly 2 minutes. So still plenty more racing to come here at Snetterton today. We're going to have MX-5s up next in a few moments' time. But hopefully we'll be able to go down to Parc Ferme very shortly and see who we can hear from after that Road Sports race. After the MX-5s, we've got hot hatches, F1000s, classic stock hatch, Clios, and then the BMWs and the Bike Sports Championship to round out the day's racing here at Snetterton. You can see that Matt Suckling and the team down there getting the drivers ready to speak to. Hopefully we'll be able to go down to them very shortly. I can see we've got Paul Cook, we've got Andy Bailey lined up as well. Let's head down then to Matt, and Matt can tell us who he's got to talk to.
Thanks very much, Ian. Yep, down here with our race winner from that Roadsports Series action. It was Paul Cook. Paul, looks like you had a hard race down there, but you took the victory. Well done.
Yeah, I'm not built for this kind of endurance racing. It's all about fitness and age related. But yeah, it went well. Had a good start in the first lap. Got in front of Jazz. I knew I had to make some leeway on the car because I knew the second driver this morning put in a very fast time. 2 seconds quicker than me, so yeah, I kept my head down and got away.
Bit of a topsy-turvy race. You probably didn't see too much behind you because you won by about 2 minutes. So it was a very good race for you out front, but lots going on, and of course the safety car towards the end as well.
Yeah, I didn't realise I was so far in front. I had Jeff Steele had the pit board out to me, giving me all the information, but I wasn't reading it correctly. But yeah, I come behind Dave Kempton, and I thought I was lapping him, but it looked like I was racing him towards the end, so it was good.
Yeah, good to see you out in the Roadsports. Of course, your main focus this weekend is, of course, the BMW Car Club Championship. You've got another race for that to come as well, but it's nice to get out and have a bit of fun in the Roadsports.
Yeah, it's a good test. As I say, not for my fitness, but to give the car a good bit of seat time. But I didn't realise I was racing you.
I didn't know it was your position. I didn't know I was going to let you through, but so no, you've done well.
Cheers, thank you.
Enjoyable stuff. What's the plan for next year, Paul?
We've only just got the car where it is in the top 3 of the BMW Car Club. We've had a bit of a difficult year with various issues, but we're there now, so hopefully I'll start next year on a positive note.
Good stuff. Well done, Paul. Congratulations on the victory there. Let's head over to Class B winner, which was Liam Crilly. And we might need to bring Liam this way, actually, just because of the generator we've got down here. But Liam, well done. Step to one side and have a quick chat. Very busy indeed. Class B winner there in the BMW. How was that for you?
That was great. It was like a track day, really. There wasn't a lot of action, apart from trying to hold on to those Class A cars at the beginning, but they were kind of tripping over each other, and it was a little bit frustrating to be held up just a little bit because I knew I had 10 seconds to serve in the pits, so I was trying to build that gap. In the end, it was all fine, but
I think you had a nice, comfortable lead, just like Paul in the overall race lead. You had a good lead in Class B as well, so no real pressure from behind. But as you said, just focusing on what happened out front.
Yeah, trying to hold on to Class A cars, come through the pack without losing any time, nailed a pit stop. And I came in a pit stop and there's someone doing 30 miles an hour in front of me, so I had to change where I was going to stop, make friends with someone down at the last garage to push me back because I wasn't with my usual crew. And yeah, that's about the only drama I had, to be honest. It was good.
But you enjoy these races, 45 minutes on your own. It's a bit of fun out there, and hopefully a bit more for next year.
Yeah, it's great. I mean, it's the ideal format for the clubman. You can run it solo, no refueling. Just get your head down. Good, lots of nice clean laps. Well, good driving. Stanner's really good. Can't ask for more.
Good stuff. Well done, Liam. Congratulations on the class victory. There you go, Liam Crilly winning Class B. That's all we've got time for because we're going to be straight into some more racing next because we've got the 5 Club racing, MX5 Cup to look forward to on the way next.